my children, my mother is here, my cousin is here. Praise God so much for all of you. Praise God for Brother Adam coming out today. Thank God for him. Amen. And Pastor Cartwright, God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for coming out. Luke chapter 5, verse 17. The Lord said, I won't be before you too long. Amen. It says, and it came to pass on a certain day, as he was teaching, that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law sitting by, which were come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was present to heal them. And behold, men brought in a bed a man which was taken with the palsy, and they sought means to bring him in and to lay him before him. And when they could not find by what way they might bring him in because of the multitude, they went upon the housetop and let him down through the tilling with his couch into the midst before Jesus. And when he saw their faith, he said unto him, Man, thy sins are forgiven thee. And the scribes and the Pharisees began to reason, saying, Who is this which speaketh blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but God alone? But when Jesus perceived their thoughts, he answered and said unto him, What reason ye in your hearts? Whether it is easier to say thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say rise up and walk? But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power upon earth to forgive sins, he said unto the sick of the palsy, I say unto thee, arise and take up thy couch and go into thine house. And immediately he rose up before them, and took up that whereupon he lay, and departed into his own house, glorifying God. And they were all amazed, and they glorified God and were filled with fear, saying, We have seen strange things. Today, verse 17, it came to pass on a certain day, as he was teaching, that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law sitting by, which were come out of the town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was present to heal. Next word, them. I want to speak this afternoon for a couple of moments from this topic. Tell your neighbor you're in the right place for a miracle. Tell your neighbor you're in the right place. Yes, for a miracle. I'm in the right place. God bless you. May be seeing I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place for a miracle. The author Luke is not one of the 12 apostles, but rather he is a historian who has decided and who has been commissioned by God to chronicle the life and the events of Jesus Christ for a man whose name is Theophilus. Theophilus is a Greek man, he's a Gentile, and so he lacks the historical frame of reference that introduces us to the Judaic nature of Christ. Because of this, Luke begins to focus profoundly on a number of things that are of key interest to a Gentile community. They are interested in not simply the deity of God, because they have a hard time really conceptualizing the monotheism that is associated with classical Judaism. But what they do recognize and what they can relate to is the plight of humanity. And so what we begin to find as we begin to travel through Luke's discourse is that he introduces us very personally to Jesus Christ as a human being who is able to do supernatural things. Somebody help me today. And I introduce to him as a man that comes and steps into problems and situations. We are introduced to one that is able to not run away from the social ills of the day, but that goes in head on to confront the most difficult challenges that face those that are alienated from the Commonwealth of Israel. What do I mean? For example, he begins to look at social issues, social causes. Which ones? Ones like the story of the rich man and Lazarus. And what is the proper placement? How do we begin to really talk about the rich and the poor and classism as it exists? How do we begin to deal with women that are operating almost outside of Judaism, and yet God takes time to very personally deal with them? How does Christ interact with the Syrophoenician woman? These are the questions that are posed by Luke that he begins to answer for this Gentile audience. And as we begin to progress from the birth of Jesus now up until chapter 5, we have seen glimpses of his power, but we're still not sure who this mystery man really is. We know that that he can do miracles, but who is he really? We know that he can do signs and wonders, but who is he really? I know that some have called him Messiah, but who is he really? And so we begin to see the text progress, and now the scribes and now the Pharisees have gathered together to answer the central question: who is this Jesus? They come not in order to be healed, they come not to be delivered, but they come to spy him out. They come to trap him. They come because his popularity has preceded him, and everybody all over knows who this Jesus character is, but he troubles us because although he has power and although he comes in the power of the word, he's not one of us. Because he's not one of us, we can't control him. And the people are fascinated with him, but he doesn't fit within our religious structure. And so how do we address the problem? I said it right. How do we address the problem of Jesus? And so they come in order to hear what he has to say, in order that they might find reason to accuse him, in order that they might find reason to find a way to trap him and to snare him. You know, jealousy will do some crazy stuff. They try to find out how. We've seen his kind before. Only a couple chapters previous, we were introduced to a man called John the Baptist. And as we looked at John the Baptist, he was another troublemaker because he's out there preaching in the wilderness, baptizing people in the Jordan. And he's not one of the scribes, and he's not one of the Sadducees, and he's not one of the Pharisees, but he's preaching this weird doctrine of repentance and baptizing folks. In fact, Luke will call it the baptism of repentance. He's calling out the religious. He's calling out the rich. He's calling them out, and he's challenging them. And the people that you thought were hanging out together, that were chummy with God, John the Baptist says, no, those aren't the right ones. That's not who God is dealing with. God's dealing with some humble folks. The people that have been thrown away and cast aside. The people that have been, hallelujah, broken and heartbroken and looked over. And so Matthew chapter 5 in his discourse says, blessed are the poor in spirit. But when you transition over to Luke, Luke will say, blessed are the poor. Because what he's doing is helping us to understand that the God that has manifested himself, that has interrupted the circuit of time and stepped from eternality into temporal reality, has come to address the needs of his people. He's not simply a God that's all the way out there, but he's a God, you read, that's present. Somebody tell you that I'm glad that I serve a God that's present. Like the Bible says, like the presence of the Lord was present. The power of the Lord was present to heal them. You might have missed that in your cursory reading. You might have missed it in your skin by. Because when you look at the text, you find that Jesus healed the man. But the anointing was there to heal them. The anointing was there to heal them. But the problem is that it's a very unlikely place for healing to occur. It's a very unlikely place for miracles to occur because it's not the place saturated with faith that you would have imagined. Many of us would have imagined an atmosphere. You remember when Jesus had to raise the young daughter, he cast out the unbelievers and he put them out and he left just him and just a few of them that were able to believe. You remember he goes to his own hometown, but he could not perform any miracles there because of their unbelief. You mean to tell me now that in an atmosphere of scribes and Pharisees that the presence of the Lord is there to heal? I want to let you know tonight that God is able to move in the most unlikely situations, the most unlikely circumstances, and environments and environmental contexts that seem contrary to all that is God. I want to help you tonight, somebody that feels like you're outside of a place that God can move. Might seem like the situation is too dire. Even the context is too difficult. But I challenge you with the question that was asked in the Old Testament. Come on, ask your neighbor, is there anything Yeah. I'm in the right place. It's an ambiguous place, but I'm in the right place. It's an uncomfortable place, but I'm in the right place. It's a strange place, but I'm in the right place. We are in the right place for a miracle. So if I could for a couple of moments, place myself within the mind of a man that has a paralytic condition. He's not able to move himself. He's in a situation he don't walk himself out of. No amount of positive thinking will transition him from his reality into his hope. But he's got a couple friends that have heard about a man that's called Jesus. He's got a couple friends that bring him to the place where Jesus is. But now we've got a problem because now that I've got to where Jesus is, there's no room for me to get in. And everything inside of me is turn around, go back the other way. Because obviously it was a good idea, but it wasn't meant to be. Obviously it seemed like a good idea, but if God had designed this to work out for me, there would have been room for me. But I want to help somebody tonight that when you know that you know that you know that God has a blessing with your name on it, it doesn't matter how many obstacles, if I'm going to leap over walls, if I'm going to run through truth, if I'm going to crawl somehow through Settle that. I'm in the right place for a miracle. I'm sure tonight. And there were people that laughed at him. I'm sure tonight. There are people that were scorning. And said, what in the world do you think you're doing? But tell you, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. You don't know what it took. You don't hear me. You don't know what it took for me to get it. You don't know what it took for me to get here. But if I'm going to be here, I refuse to leave the same way that I came. I will go and say, I preach too long, I won't have with that. But I need to, hallelujah. One more thing that's interesting in the text says that, hallelujah, the Pharisees and the scribes, they begin to question among themselves and they're trying to rationalize it. But while they're trying to rationalize, somebody that got delivered. While they're trying to rationalize it, somebody that got healed. And if you read the text, the man never stops, never looks back and says, let me explain to you. He said,